So the DJI RS3 has a lot of really cool tricks and turns that are kind of tucked up its sleeve. Some of you may know, some of them you may not. What I want to do today is kind of point out some of my favorite little tricks that I kind of think of when I think of the RS3, and hopefully some of these can help you as you go out there and shoot. Oh, hey, and by the way, if you do find this video useful, please do me a favor and please hit that like and subscribe button. It makes a big, big difference in being able to keep this channel going and bringing you content like this. Now, the first tip I'd like to point out is something that I think a lot of us just don't take into account when we're using this, and that is the all lock mode here on the gimbal. And the all lock mode essentially is you just hold down the trigger and the gimbal will lock in place. And where this is such a great trick to have is, as you see, I have this in the pan follow mode, so you can see it, I'm moving now. But there are times when I want to move in a horizontal movement to my motion. And if I'm moving horizontal just in pan and tilt, what you might see is as I'm moving, the camera may or may not pan. And I don't want that to happen. I want to be straight on to the front in a dolly type move. So what happens if I hold the trigger here, as you can see now, the camera just stays locked on. So I can completely turn my body to the side if I need to do a side move, and I can walk and the camera will never ever move off. It locks in that motion you go. This is also fantastic if I come back here, if I do a crane shot. I can basically lock on, hold that down, and as I come down, as I lift my camera for a crane type shot, you will see the camera stays locked on. This is a really, really important tool if you want to get more professional, smooth shots on your gimbal, and I use it all the time. Now, the next tip and trick from the DJI RS3 is actually one that has saved me more than once when I'm out on a shoot. And that is, you actually have an emergency powering option here for your RavenEye. And I don't know about you, but I have many times gotten on a set and forgotten to charge my RavenEye for whatever reason. I just didn't think about it the night before and got on set and my RavenEye was essentially dead. But check this out. So as you can see on the DJI gimbal, we have the 3 ports here on the front that we can plug our USB-Cs in. But if I take this out of the bottom one and put it here on the second one, all of a sudden, if I flip this around the back, you will see now that my RavenEye is now charging. Now, what's happening is this is actually using the battery from your gimbal to charge your RavenEye. Now, you can't do this while you're using the RavenEye, but I know I've been in a situation I've gotten in set and realized I didn't have this thing charged. I could set my gimbal to the side and just let this thing charge very, very quickly without having to break anything down or take anything off. This is just one of those things, if you're using the system long enough, you're inevitably gonna find yourself in a situation, and it just might save you if you're out there in the middle of nowhere and need to power your RavenEye. Okay, now the next tip and trick that I just can't live without on the gimbal now that I've started really using it is the fact that you can now do Bluetooth camera control from the back of your camera. And this really depends on the system you're gonna be using. If you are a Sony user, there's actually some incredible camera control built into the system because of the Sony operating system. But even if you are a Canon shooter, you can still control the start and stop right here on the back of your gimbal, which makes things really, really efficient. And once you get used to that start and stop button right here on the back without having to hook up any additional cables, man, it is really, really hard to go back. The only camera in the Canon line that can't do it, unfortunately, is the Canon R5C, because for some strange reason, the Canon R5C does not let you do wireless camera control without a $1,000 add-on, unlike every other camera in its mirrorless line. If you're interested in how to do this on a Canon R5 or other Canon R series, I did make a video. I'll put a link up here on that. And for Sony cameras, there's also lots of tutorials out there. And the best part is, once you program it once, the camera and the gimbal always remember. So you set it up once, and it basically, every other time you ever set it up, you will have that wireless control. Now, speaking of wireless control, my next tip and trick from the RS3 is something that I have used, and believe it or not, it has saved me on many, many a shoot. And that is the Force Mobile feature that you can get on the DJI Ronin app. And it's really, really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my app right here just so you can see it. And what's great about this, because I have RavenEyes, I can sit here and access Force Mobile. And what Force Mobile basically does is it turns your phone and the little gyro system in there into a remote control for the camera. So let me show you how to set it up. Okay, so now as I come in the app here, if you come here, you will see a little icon down here in the left corner. I'll go ahead and hit that, and you'll see a couple of options. You have Force Mobile, joystick, focus control, and you have active track orientation. I'm gonna stay on Force Mobile for right now. Now what's cool is, if you sit here and enable that, check this out. If I hit this, all of a sudden, anything my phone does, I can make this do too. This is a fantastic, you can see how incredibly reactive this is when you're out there working. And what's great about this is, let's say you're out there and you sometimes, maybe your camera, you're pointing down. If you want to reorientate it like this, you just hit this center button, the camera will recenter, and then you can do a successful tip up from that point. Now where this really comes in handy is when you can restrict certain axes. So now let's say I want to put this on, say, something like a jib or a crane, which is actually something I've done on the RS3 plenty of times. Now what happens if I take away the roll and the pan, I just have the tilt. Check this out. I just have a tilt. It doesn't matter if I move it to the side. You see how it doesn't move? It just gives me a beautiful, slow, mechanical tilt. And what's really nice about this is I can be in a situation where if I'm on a jib, I can have someone operating the jib and I can just be down, and as the jib raises, I can rise up and follow it. You can do the same thing with the pan. The other place that Force Mobile has really saved me is sometimes I'll have a difficult shot where maybe the camera will start off pointing down and I need to have it come up and hit in a very specific way. I can give this to an assistant, and basically I can frame up the shot here, and then I can just come and I can completely follow the motion and get it exactly where I want. Force Mobile is something that if you haven't used it, I strongly recommend. You will find you can do so much with it, and it is such a powerful, powerful feature of this gimbal. All right, now another tip and trick that I think is really overlooked on this is inverted mode on your DJI RS3. Now one of the cool things about the gimbals is being able to take it and get it low to the ground. It adds a lot of motion, it adds a lot of parallax, really, really great dynamic shots down there. But I think a lot of us have the tendency when we're doing this is we want to take our back arm like this and just sort of hang the gimbal down low to the ground like this and kind of run with it. I know I am guilty with it too in this kind of briefcase type mode. The problem with doing this is when we're doing it, first off, our arm is only so stable. So we're gonna add inherent wobble to our shots. The other thing is when we're in this kind of briefcase type mode, we're not maximizing all the power of the motors. The RS3 is going to be maximized in the power mode when it's more in this type of configuration. So to get down low to the ground, we're going to want to go into inverted mode. And let me show you how to do it, because there's a little bit of a trick to it to make sure you're getting it just right. And basically it all comes back down to this lock button. So we're going to hold the trigger down and lock the motors. And then I'm just going to hold the button here, and then I'm just going to move my gimbal like that. And now I am in an inverted mode. Now it's kind of backwards, so what I'll do is I'll tend to hold it, I'll double click it again just to get it where I need it to be. So I have it held right, and now I have a nice upside down inverted gimbal. And now what happens is I can come back and get this thing literally an inch off the ground, but now I have a lot more stability. I can control my body a lot better. This is a way, way better way to operate your gimbal down low. I can also do things much easier. I have much more room if I'm going to do tilt and pans. The other thing is if I pop it upside down, you can see here it is upside down. This can give me some extra height. So I'm only 5'8". I'm a pretty short guy. But if I'm filming someone that's say 6 feet, 6'2", something like that, and I want to get some good gimbal shots, well, putting it in inverted mode gets me more height. It's way much more comfortable because it raises the camera up. My camera's upside down, and you can see I can really raise it up high there and get it. So I can get these shots now much, much more in control. So having inverted mode really opens up a lot of things that your gimbal can do. And the last little tip and trick I want to point about the RS3 is actually setting focus points. So this is something that actually comes in really, really useful on a gimbal. This really comes in nice when you have something to say you're behind a structure and want to slowly raise above it and pull focus to something in the background. Well, you don't necessarily want to use autofocus for that because you want to control the speed of that. But at the same time, when you're in the middle of doing that lift and that pull up, it can be kind of hard to focus on that. But what's great is you can actually set focus points here with your focus motor. So it's just about moving it between a point and a point. The good thing is it's not hard to set up. Let's look how to do it. So if you come into the back screen, swipe down, and you'll see the settings menu. If I click on the settings menu, I will come up, and then I'm going to come to focus motor endpoints right here. I'm going to click on that, and you can either do a focus motor calibration or you can do manual endpoints. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here. It's going to ask me to confirm that, and you'll see I can set a start point and an ending point. So what I can do, I can simply focus the point I want to get to for my A point. I hit set, and then now I'm going to focus to my other point that I want to go to, I hit that as an endpoint, and then it is done. And what's great now is I can do a move, and if I control my gimbal, it'll only focus to those 2 points. It's not gonna overshoot my focus or do something like this. This is a really, really nice feature to have because it lets you really focus on your focus points without overshooting them accidentally because you're focusing on the move and your finger went too far. Once you reach that endpoint, the motor will stop and you know you've got it. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this useful. This is not everything that the RS3 can do, but I thought these were some that I found really useful and hopefully you can make some use of it your own. Anyway, guys, love to hear from you. Please leave any notes and comments down below. And yeah, go out there, keep on shooting, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.